It's 7 o'clock on the dot, and this is LidLine Sports. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to LidLine Sports. We are broadcasting live. Well, at least I am. O is at the crib. And so we are broadcasting live here in beautiful downtown Columbia City in the south end of Seattle, Washington. Oh, what is up, brother?
What's up, Mr. Hawaiian man? Good to see you back.
Aloha. Yes, man, I had a wonderful time in Hawaii. Man, listen, if there was a brother that was mad at the airport coming back, that would be me. That would be me. I was a sad dude, man. Oh, but we had a wonderful time in Kauai. My first time there. I lived on Oahu for 3 years, but I never jumped to other islands for some reason. I guess because, well, I was there when I was real young. I was like 19, 20 years old. So I was too busy doing my thing in Hawaii. And then, of course, when I got on the ship, we went out to sea and stuff like that. So I really didn't have a chance to jump to the other islands. So this time we went to Kauai, and I had a great time. It was nice and warm. It wasn't blazing hot. It had a nice breeze every day. The weather was so. I'm not going to say it was spectacular because it was not, but for the most part, it was good enough. Did a lot of touristy stuff. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and hope to go back, to Kauai. And then I found my favorite shave ice place.
I still never had.
Oh, you never had shave ice?
No, I've only been to Hawaii once, but I don't know why I did not make that like on my list of things to do. I would pass by some, and I'm not like a big dessert guy, so I've never thought about it. I should have. I should have though.
Well, at least, next time you go to Hawaii, man, you got to get some shave ice, bro. It's life. It was delicious. Okay. But anyway, enough of that. So you and Michael did a great job last week covering everything. You guys covered the NFL draft. I just want to touch on it a little bit just to give you my 2 cents. Daniel, my computer crashed.
I mean,
so I can't
are
see
the
anything.
NFL guru.
Huh?
So we have to get your 2 cents. I said you are the NFL guru, so we have to get your 2 cents on everything.
I don't know about guru, but I just give my input. That's it, brother. I appreciate that. But you guys did a great job. So, and then of course I want to talk about the Mariners a little bit, and then I want to get into some NHL playoffs, and of course the NBA. We'll cover that the second half of the show because we got a lot to talk about there. So first off, I want to get into the NFL draft. Believe it or not, I enjoyed. Well, actually, I can't say I enjoyed the draft because I never saw it. I was in the air as the draft was going on, and we were supposed to have Wi-Fi, but since we were going to such a remote location, so to speak, over the Pacific Ocean for 6 hours, I had no Wi-Fi, so I couldn't get anything until we landed, and then I said, "Wow," because we didn't get Jalen Carter. As expected. I saw that we got Devin Witherspoon, and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And then I saw that the Cardinals had picked up, not the Cardinals, the Texans had picked up C.J. Stroud, which I expected, and Will Anderson. So that ruined what the Seahawks were going to do, because I feel that if Anderson was available, they were going to get him. And then Indy picked Richardson, the quarterback out of Florida, and I'm glad they did, because I did not want the Seahawks to pick a quarterback, and I definitely didn't want them to pick a quarterback that needs seasoning, right? I mean, as much.
Do you really think the Seahawks were going to take Anthony Richardson if he was available at 5?
I do.
Okay.
Now I know that Pete said there was 2 guys that if they were on the board when they picked at 5th, that they were definitely not going to trade down for, which I was happy to hear. And of course, one of those was Will Anderson. There was no question about that. And then the other one appeared to be Devin Witherspoon. So they picked the guy that they had their heart set on other than Will Anderson. So I was happy about that. But I was super happy about the number 20 pick, Jackson Njigba, because Jackson Smith Njigba, excuse me, I don't want to butcher his whole name. What he goes by, right? And so I was saying that's the guy they should get at number 20, or Nolan Smith out of Georgia. So when they picked him in Njigba, I was very pleased. And as actually, for once, I thought the Seahawks had a smart draft. They drafted not only for need, but they drafted the best player available, right, from what they wanted, as far as the cornerback, Witherspoon, and then Jackson Njigba, which they definitely needed another wide receiver, and they picked the best one out there. Right?
It's almost like after last year's success of the draft, it's like they almost came into this draft like, okay, let's trust our scouts, and maybe we are good at draft.
Yeah, and look, we've said this in shows in years past. They need to stop trading down and all that nonsense and pick the best player at the on the board at wherever they're drafting at, regardless of need, right?
Yes,
because you could always draft for need. And here's what I liked about their draft. So once they got Jackson Njigba, then they got the edge guy at 37, right? And then they picked up Zach Charbonnet at 52, which I love because I like that guy. I mean, you ask the Huskies about Charbonnet. They can tell you. All they know is he's number 24 because that's all they saw from the back of his jersey, right? So I thought those were smart picks. And then they picked offensive line, right? And they also picked up some defensive edge guys. So they picked smart in the later rounds, and they only made one trade. They fleeced the Broncos again because the Broncos picked some cornerback that's like rated, who knows? I can't remember. And then they picked up the thing about it. What I like about what they picked up is when they picked up the center, right?
That's the pick I love the most.
Yes, and he was an award winner. They picked two award winners, the best cornerback, the best center, and they also picked the best, I think, I can't remember. Was it another old lineman who's one of the best as far as in his craft? So, they picked the guy from LSU. They picked two Michigan guys. So, and then in the 7th round, they get Kenny McIntosh. Now, you need to look at his videos, right? I know a lot of these videos are just focusing on, on his good stuff, right? But he had 10 minutes of that. So you gotta think about, okay, so if a guy's really good and he's got a 2-minute video, well, okay, let's go get this guy's got 10 minutes worth of video that's like ridiculous. So they got and of course,
what position is it?
He's a running back.
Okay.
So he's going to be, look, DJ Dallas is in trouble as far as a running back concerned. His forte is special teams. So if DJ Dallas is still good on special teams, then he'll probably make the team. But he's not making the team because he's a good running back. He's making the team because he's valuable on special teams. And I don't even think he's really that, to be honest, because all he does is return. And, to me, he's not even all that special as a return guy. And the other guy that's in trouble is D. Eskridge, who's always hurt and does nothing when he plays. I mean, he gets like, 1 yard, 1 reception for 3 yards or whatever. And then he'll take a hit and then he'll be out for 2 days, or whatever, 2 games. It's like he's, and then, of course, on kick returns, he doesn't do anything but get hit and then lay on the ground or whatever. And, come on, man.
And Jackson and Jigba, he did a little bit of that at Ohio State too, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
But he's gonna be needed at wide receiver.
Oh yeah.
So the other undrafted free agent wide receivers that they picked up with Jake Bobo from UCLA, who I also like a lot. If he's good on special teams, he's going to be on the team. And they also got another guy, Mike Landers from Arkansas, that's supposed to be like, if the ball's near him, he's getting it. He's 6'5". Both Bobo and Jake Landers are in 6'4", 6'5" range, which is good. So, but if those guys can contribute on special teams, they're going to make the team. So, they'll probably have four wide receivers, 4 or 5, 4 running backs, and so, yeah. And I like Charbonnet and McIntosh to team up with Walker. That's a young group, but it looks like to me they're going to be a pretty dynamic group. One of them, of course, like McIntosh or Charbonnet could be good on third down, and they're both very good at check down receiving. So Geno can actually use the check down like Russ never did, right? And then, they can go that route. And of course, they integrated the tight ends a lot last season, so they can continue to do that. So it's not like we're hurting on the receiving end, of course, and then, of course, the check down and use of the tight ends. So this offense should be much better, right? But of course, the offense wasn't so much the issue. It was definitely the defense. And I think they addressed a lot of that, of course, in free agency when they picked up Draymond Jones from Denver. And then, of course, they've gotten Jerron Reed back. They got Wagner back. So, and then, of course, you still have Alton Robinson and Darrell Taylor. He needs to get that stick out of his what. So, but you know what? These guys that they got could actually help do that, right? When you have guys on your heels, you'd be like, man, I better get myself together, because if you still want an NFL paycheck, you want to get it together, right? So, and then guys coming in with chips on their shoulders. So I really love what they did in the draft. And so if this draft fails, for one thing, I can't complain because I like the draft. I like the players they got. So if it's terrible down the road, then it's the players, because I like the draft. So I can't blame John and Pete for that. So what did you think? I didn't really hear all of your show last week, but I know you guys addressed it.
No, like I said, I first and foremost said that I like that the Seahawks used most of their draft picks to start out with. I liked how they got pieces that were needed. They didn't play around with these draft picks. They didn't go for any type of home run hit. They didn't go for the Anthony Richardson type of pick of, what could his ceiling be, or, the potential pick. Everybody you got, like I said, either had an award next to them or they did numbers in college. So these are guys that not only have shown that they can play, but they've shown that they can possibly play early. So it is always good for especially young players to get live reps, especially on the pro level. And I've always loved over the last 5 to 10 years how NFL players and NFL teams have gotten younger. NFL players play more now when they were younger than having to get seasoned for a couple of years. So starting even with the cornerback we got, I didn't really know much about him, but watching his film, he fits the mold of what Pete Carroll likes as a cornerback, physical cornerback.
Right, except for his height.
Yeah, except for the height.
Yeah.
But like I said, he makes up for it with his style of play. He wins the line of scrimmage. He gets his hands on deflections. So it just fit. And then, just like you said, Jackson Jigba is probably could be the best wide receiver in that draft.
To me, he definitely was. And a matter of fact, before last year, because he was hurt most of this past season, but the season before he was the best wide receiver on Ohio State's team. And
Yeah.
you got to remember, Ohio State's got Marvin Harrison Jr. They got Garrett. They had Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
So they got some top flight wide receivers, and he was the guy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm definitely excited to see him here, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, yes, I loved it. Like I said, I think Michael Carter I think we both gave him like an A. Because like I said, it was just I had nothing bad to say about what the Seahawks are doing. Like I said, I know it's hard to, move on from that era of when you won a Super Bowl. But I'm glad, they finally made that move and they're doing it. And the process is accelerating. And so, like I said, it's good to be able to now fit in young pieces that can help this team as well. So
absolutely, like and of course, getting Wagner back is huge.
Oh yeah, and a great veteran to have around younger players.
And then plus, look, people are complaining about Jamal Adams. I get it. He's not good in coverage. I get that. But look, he's only 25, 26 years old. People forget he's young, and he's been in the league 4 or 5 years already. So getting him back should be awesome, because I think they're going to let him freelance back there, meaning that he's going to be able to play up front more like a linebacker, because you got Julian Love now, Quandre Diggs, and at safety, and then you got Tariq Woolen on one side. You still got Kobe Bryant, right? He'll probably come in on nickel packages, and then you got Witherspoon, another corner that's supposed to be locked down or close to it, right? And the thing about Witherspoon, like Sauce Gardner last year, he, as far as PFF Pro Football Focus is concerned, he scored like an 87, right? I can't explain all the scoring, but I'll just give you the end result that Gardner was an 87. So when they did Witherspoon, he scored a 92. So that's something right there. So they like his instincts. So you got one lockdown corner in Woolen, and then you got Witherspoon on the other side. Where are you going to go? And plus, the thing about Witherspoon is he can cover slots. So if you got guys like Cooper Kupp coming in, you can key on him with Witherspoon, and then you still got Kobe Bryant on the other side, who was very good, right? Okay, he wasn't Woolen good, but look, he was a rookie.
Yeah.
People forget Woolen and Kobe Bryant were both rookies, and they played very well. The secondary was not the problem last season.
Nope.
It was definitely up front.
Interior.
And then we talk about Jordan Brooks. They're not giving him the 5th-year option, which is not surprising, because he's hurt now. He probably won't be back till probably late in the season, of course. And the fact that he got all those tackles, you got to realize, folks, he was getting all those tackles because teams were gashing us. And so by the time Brooks got there, he had the running back or whoever was making the play for the offense on the other team had already gone down the field 6, 7, 8, 9 yards. Right? Yep. He wasn't making tackles for loss. If he was making tackles for loss, that's a whole different situation, right? But he's not. He's getting tackles because the front seven was so porous. So yeah. So don't get fooled by some numbers. Numbers do lie. They say numbers don't lie, but they actually do. So, but anyway, so that's my little 2 cents worth on the NFL draft as far as the Seahawks are concerned. I was very happy with it. So let's just hope that things pan out. All right. The Seattle Mariners have gotten themselves back to 500 at 17-17. So basically you could say right now it's 0-0, right? Because they're even up now. Now we can see what happens for the rest of the season. Because, of course, they got off to a slow start. They got bad news that Robbie Ray is out for the season after only pitching 1 game. But the good news is they called up Bryce Miller, and he stepped in and pitched 2 straight gems, right? So he scored against Oakland and against Houston. And the one against Houston was very impressive. Yeah, that was his hometown team that he
Uh-huh.
shut down. So that's good to know. But the offense is still struggling.
Up
Uh,
and down, yeah. I
yeah, I
think
mean, look, for the most part against Oakland, they didn't get started till 6th, 7th, 8th inning. Against
no,
Houston, the same thing. That 7-run 8th inning on Saturday turned that whole series around because they were on their way to another loss. Because they were getting shut down. They had zero going on in the offense, and they did all those 7 runs with 2 outs, which is amazing
yeah,
against the World Series champions. So,
and I was looking at the numbers. I'm not happy offensively. We are tied for 15th right now,
yeah,
sitting at 4.3 runs. I would have liked us to be closer to, maybe not at 5, but closer to the 5 range. It's just the inconsistent offense of, just like you said, of going 6 innings without putting up runs, or
right.
not getting guys on base, or
I mean,
leaving runners
Julio
on base.
Julio had a whole week where I don't even think he got a hit.
Yeah, and
And then
and
and
now his
at the same time, Ty France was not getting hits. The only guy that's
yeah,
been
he just
consistent, believe it or not, is Kelnick
yeah, and
the whole
that's
season.
that's been the only bright spot of this season so far, is watching Jared Kelenic now transferring himself into being the player that we thought he was going to be. But now
Exactly.
we need the Ty France of hitting 300. We need Julio hitting home runs and getting on base. Like, we need
Right.
everything to now in order. And also, I think Eugenio Suarez is having a pretty decent hit.
Yes, he's been pretty good too.
All that other stuff just needs to be cohesive offensively,
Mhm.
and hopefully our bullpen can get better, because that hasn't been really well at all either.
Right.
And hopefully Bryce Miller can get the starters going to play at a more consistent level outside of Luis Castillo. He's playing great. Besides, I
Yeah.
think his last 2 starts. But yeah, now let's all put it
Yeah,
together now. We're back to
yeah,
500. Let's put it together.
yeah. His last 2 starts ain't his fault. It's the fact that he's getting no run support. Uh,
Yeah, then
just like
more of
Felix.
that. Definitely.
It's like
Yeah.
Felix all over again. Felix was 13-12 and still won the Cy Young because he got no run support.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing. But anyway, so yeah, Teoscar's got to get more consistent.
Yep.
But I do like what I see out of Caballero at second
Yep.
base. And I think Colton Wong, if he don't get it together, he's going to be gone by June.
Yeah,
if not before.
I don't know what it is with this second base. I really thought that we should have kept Adam Frazier, but we didn't. I thought he played really well in the playoffs, enough to warrant to bring him
Where
back.
did he go? Do you remember? I can't
He
remember.
is now with the Oakland, and I mean not Oakland, the Baltimore Orioles.
Orioles. And how's he doing?
Yeah, he's doing pretty solid.
I know the Orioles are like 10 games over.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing pretty well. So
Yeah.
I have checked him. And I've checked on Kyle Lewis. He's not even hardly playing right now in Arizona. And that's so unfortunate. I want him
Yeah.
to do, but the Seattle Mariners probably were probably right in letting him move on. However, the guy they got, I mean, what's he doing? Nothing. Hummel. They got Hummel from
no, he's not doing much either. Yeah.
and then of course the injury of Dylan Moore has really hurt as far as the utility play, because he fills in at second, he can fill in at short, especially when Colton Wong until they called up Caballero, Colton Wong was just flat out awful and killing us. Yeah, so but he's played a whole lot better because Caballero, he's come up and he's been hitting, he's been playing well. So Colton Wong's like, oh boy,
That's what I'm saying.
I better get it together.
Yeah, as long as Caballero keeps hitting and playing solid, I don't think Cole, bad as he's playing offensively, is just warranted to be right back in the lineup when he comes back. Like, he's hitting so atrocious, man, and
it's crazy.
I don't know. Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So NHL playoffs, man. Look, this is the first year that I've been watching.
You got me sold, Pep. You got me sold.
I got my Kraken hat on. Hey. And then, of course, I've been watching a few other matches. I see that Florida, when they took out Boston, you figure they might have a letdown. Nope. They're up 3-0 on Toronto. So it looks like they're going to win that series, and they'll play the winner of Carolina and the New Jersey Devils. The Devils were my team when I lived back in Jersey, so I used to follow them pretty good. And they were struggling against the Carolina Hurricanes.
Finally got them.
They were down 2-0, but they were getting blown out. They got blown out the first game 5-1. Then they got blown out the second game 6-1. So that's what 11-2 in 2 games. And then they scored 8 goals the last game. You know, but they still gave up a lot. You know, they gave up 4.
Yeah,
so that's concerning to me. I mean, the fact that you got to score 5-6 plus goals to win a game in hockey and in the playoffs, that's not going to last. And the same thing for the Kraken. Man, look, the Krakens, I don't care what they do from now on. They've already won to me because they're playing with house money now. Nobody expected them to be in the second round. And as a matter of fact, leading in the second round 2-1 over the Dallas Stars by beating them
3-0.
Yeah, by beating them 5-4 in the first game, losing 4-2, and then smashing them 7-2 the other night. I mean, come on, man. Yesterday was ridiculous. They couldn't stop scoring.
4 goals.
I mean,
9 minutes in that period.
That was unbelievable. So for me, they've already won in my book. Even if they lose the series, you know, but I don't think they will. I think they're actually going to beat Dallas, and I think they're going to be in the Western Conference Finals, and they'll probably play. I don't know. If they play Edmonton or Vegas, either one of them is going to be real tough. But I don't care. To me, they've already won, and so I'm happy. I'm just going to cheer for whatever they do for the rest of it. So look, it's time for our break. I just want to keep going with this, but anyway, we got to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs. Oh, I know you got a whole lot of stuff to say about that. So don't go away. When we come back, we'll be hitting the NBA.
Do you have an idea for a community project in your neighborhood? You could be eligible for up to $50,000 in funding through the City of Seattle's Neighborhood Matching Fund. Grants are awarded to grassroots projects that build stronger communities, with an emphasis on projects led by impacting Black, Indigenous, and people of color BIPOC communities. To learn more about the Neighborhood Matching Fund or to see if your project meets the criteria, visit seattle.gov/neighborhoods/NMF.
Mga kaibigan, ito po si Kuya Bert Kawili.
And this is Miles Salvador from Australia.
And I'm Norb Kawili, also known as Norbcam.
Kung gusto niyo po ang latest news and events from the Philippines at the local Filipino community, Phil-Am Radio po.
We play Filipino music and interview guests from all around the world.
And I'll keep you updated on the latest Seahawks and sports news.
Kaya always tune in, Phil-Am Radio every Tuesday, 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on Rainier Avenue Radio World.
And in YouTube and Facebook. Salamat po.
Women are not an homogenous group.
We face discrimination differently depending on factors such as ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and more.
Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to amplify women's voices.
They are the experts of their own lives, initiating conversations within their community about challenges they face, the solutions they're working on, and the opportunities they see.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 for Women's Voices on Air. We know our challenges. We are the experts of our lives.
We are master multitaskers, prioritizing our family, friends, and our faith above our own needs.
Our needs and voices are too often overlooked.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. for Women's Voices on Air.
We tell our stories in our own way.
Did you know that there's an updated COVID-19 booster that protects you even more than the original vaccines? Even if you got the first vaccinations, now it's time to get this new updated booster shot. It's especially important for adults 50 and over and people with a compromised immune system. Even though you may not hear about people catching COVID as often, each week in King County. Some people even end up in the hospital because of it. So check with your loved ones and make sure they've gotten an updated booster. For more information on where to get a COVID vaccine, including free vaccination resources, visit kingcounty.gov/vaccines. kingcounty.gov/vaccines.
Hey, welcome back to LidLine Sports. Thank you for listening. If you missed the first part of the show, we talked a little bit about the Seahawks draft again because I wanted to get my little 2 cents in because I wasn't here last week to listen to Michael and give their great analysis on everything. We discussed the Seattle Mariners and the NHL playoffs, and we're going to talk about the NBA, but just for a real quick, Rainier Avenue Radio World has a new show coming up on Thursday at 1 p.m. It's called Wise Action, correct? Wise Action with John Buck, right? And Nicole. Yes. What's her last name? I forgot. But anyway, yeah, Wise Action, 1 p.m. It's about, tell me, what's it about again? What's it about? Because my computer crashed, so I can't see it.
It looks like it's about bringing stories and conversation about environmental justice, climate justice, transition, and policy advocacy every Thursday from 1 to 1:30.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, man, we got the NBA playoffs in full swing. We are in the second round and kind of right in the middle of it, actually. So, take it away. Let us go into OT.
Yeah, man, my nerves have been through the roof of this last week, man. Starting out in the Western Conference side yesterday, the Phoenix Suns has battled back and has tied this series up to go back to Denver 2-2. But if anybody out there has been watching this series, if you've been watching Pep, this has probably been one of the best shot making, like on a world level, that I've seen in a long time in the playoffs. Nikola Jokic, in my opinion, the best center in the NBA, one of the best centers to come around in a long time in the NBA, man.
Right.
How he's taking over the game offensively in all types of ways, from the perimeter to down low around the paint to floaters to jumpers, man. It's been crazy, but he's actually been topped by somebody by the name of Devin Booker. He is putting up numbers that you have not seen since Michael Jordan. He's averaging 30, so efficient, 35 points a game on 50 or 62% shooting.
That's crazy.
He went 20 for 25, 14 of 18 in game 4. To see this guy play, man, a lot of people now are dubbing him Young Mamba. I don't like comparing anybody to the late great Kobe Bryant, but
neither do I. I agree.
Yeah, if there was somebody who had the mindset of him offensively to just go out and kill everything, he is a player that comes to mind. And just how he's doing, like you said, so efficiently from everywhere on the floor. And the crazy thing to hear is his counterpart is Kevin Durant. You would think it'd go the other way around. Kevin Durant's gotten off to a little bit of a slow start this series. He started to pick it up these last 2 games at home.
We got some home cooking.
Yes, exactly.
And that cures a lot.
Exactly. And I think also I think he started to realize he was settling for a lot of jumpers. Game 3 and 4, he's lived at the free throw line, and it's got him going. But what has taken over this series and has made headlines yesterday in Game 4, there was a play where Josh Okogie lost the ball out of bounds on a rebound. He fell out of bounds. It looked like there may have been a foul, not called. And he ran into new owner, Matt Ishbia, new Phoenix Suns owner. And the ball had landed in Matt Ishbia's hands. And Josh Okogie fell over him. He was looking over at Josh Okogie, trying to help him up or looking to help him up. And Nikola Jokic, who is no stranger to getting into it with the Phoenix Suns, runs over to Matt Ishbia, tries to grab the ball out of his hands, and Matt Ishbia was like, "Nope, you're not taking this from me."
Question.
And yeah.
Do you think Jokic knows who he was?
No.
Not that it matters.
Yeah, no.
But I'm going to make a point, though.
Yeah, not in the moment of the game, no, and not doesn't matter because he was sitting courtside. No, I don't think he had anything. I don't think he knew who he was. But yeah, Matt Ishbia kind of flung the ball, lost the ball, and kind of got into Jokic's face, and Jokic pushed him out the way with his elbow.
But he did it quickly, right? Because he wasn't even looking at him. Because Jokic had his eyes focused elsewhere. And then used his arm to slyly push him, but the Phoenix.
I think he was more just trying to clear space.
NBA flop and flop on his chair. Like, come on, man.
Yes, definitely sold it.
Yes.
Matt Ishbia did play. He was a walk-on at Michigan State. He sold it and fell to the ground. The result of the play was Jokic got he got a tech for it.
He shouldn't have got a tech.
Yeah,
fortunately, they're not suspending him, and he doesn't deserve to be suspended. I don't even think he should have been fined as much as he was fined, but I'm okay with that. I'll live with that. But the fact that I don't care who you are, if you're in the front row, does not mean that you're part of the action by any stretch, right? Fans are not allowed to be, think that they're part of the court. And be able to interact with the players. They interact with the players. Some of them good nature, some of them heckling. I get that, but and of course, because you're so close to the court, there's action that sometimes comes your way. Players fall over and everything. You try to help them up for the most part, but don't try and you just take the ball. I mean, that was just ridiculous. Do that, and I don't even care if you're the owner, right? That still doesn't give you the right to try and involve yourself in what's going on in the court, because that has nothing to do with you. I'm paying those players, but you are not involved on the court. You are a Phoenix Suns owner, which means you're behind the scenes or whatever. But you should not be. If the ball comes to you, you either get out of the way or just give it back to the ref as soon as you can. Don't try to hold the ball and be all involved, because that's not what you're there for.
So my 2 cents is, and I'm glad you said that, my 2 cents about it. I 100% agree with you. I don't think he should have got suspended. Now, we're just basing this off the NBA rules and regulations. You're not supposed to make any type of physical contact with fans.
Right.
We'll say in that situation, because there was a commotion with Josh Okogie falling on the ground, I thought, and I do get, and I know Jokic I think he's done it before, right? He'll, and a lot of players do it. They'll take the ball out of players' hands to try to get the play going fast.
Yeah.
I do think that Jokic should allow the ref to get the ball just because a fan is involved. If it was a player, I don't have an issue with it. Now, only because it was a fan, I thought that maybe that the referee should have gotten the ball out of that situation. But besides that, I don't care what anybody says about, what rules that go by. He made contact with the player. Now, question, and I seen somebody just ask this. I think it was Michael Carter. Now, you tell me, if this was Draymond Green in this situation, do you think he would have got suspended?
Yes.
Do you think he would have got kicked out of the game?
Because of reputation, yes.
Okay.
Because of reputation. Jokic doesn't have that particular type of reputation, so they gave him the benefit of the doubt. But if that was Draymond, he most definitely would have been suspended. He probably would have been kicked out right then and there for one thing. He would have been kicked out, and he probably would have been suspended. Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Great question and an easy answer.
Okay.
And there's a lot of unwritten rules in sports. Like, okay, so NBA, you're not supposed to interact with the fans, but there are certain situations where the fans or whatever, there's an involvement with players in the seats, whatever. Stuff happens because you try to go get your player or whatever. And another thing that I don't know if people notice, there's an unwritten rule in the NBA as far as, okay, a foul is called, right? And so it's a dead ball. And now somebody takes a jump shot, because, it could be somebody that has the ball at the time the foul was called and they've been struggling. So they try to take a little jump shot while the dead ball. But there's always a defensive player that's goaltended because they don't, because there's unreal. You don't want that guy to get rhythm and stuff like that. And in baseball, there's a rule: if a guy hits a home run, the next time coming up, he's going to get some chin music. That's just the way it works. That's just how it is. It's not something that we might agree on or like, but that's what happens.
Yeah. In my opinion, just in the midst of the game, I just thought it was, unfortunate. It's unfortunate it spilled over into the next day, but the media is gonna, blow these type of things out of proportion, and then you have such a thin line between fan reaction with players, all due to the fiasco in the Malice in the Palace, and so you don't ever want a situation like that to occur. But yeah, in my opinion, I'm a competitor, even though I'm not on the team. I want Jokic to be on the court. You would not want to see the Phoenix Suns get an advantage that way.
No, and look, and you better watch who you're messing with as a fan, because look, Jokic's got brothers.
Yeah,
those brothers will put you. They'll have you floating in the desert, right?
Yeah,
so
all big guys.
Look, I ain't messing with him. Because he's got brothers that, they're definitely shady. So you better watch what you're doing.
That series is 2-2 going back to Denver tomorrow, man. It
looks like a 7-game series.
Yeah, and
it looks like Denver will probably win Game 5. Phoenix probably win Game 6. So and then Game 7, winner take all. Advance is going to be, that should be a barn burner. It should be, but look. Phoenix got blown out in Game 7 last year, right? At home.
Oh, don't remind me.
Yeah, I know. But it happened.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. My heart's telling me we get this over in 6, but my brain's telling me this is for sure a 7-game series.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. What else is going on in the West? You got a really fun series going on with the LA Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. For me, the Lakers are up 2-1. They're playing right now on TNT. The score of that game at this moment is, it looks like it is 29-26, 10 minutes left in the second quarter, Golden State. I had to tell myself, and it was really hard, G, if you're listening, this was really hard for me to say, but I think about 3 weeks ago, I finally come to the realization that the LA Lakers are good.
I know.
And I know.
Yeah, I know.
But watching them play this series, they've done a really good job chasing Steph Curry off the line and Jared Vanderbilt, Austin Reeves, the interior defense. I know guys, when they look at AD and they look at the scoring numbers, they want to say, oh, well, he's not doing this offensively. Remember, Anthony Davis came into the league as being, as this guy who had potential offensively, but you knew that he was going to be one of the better shot blockers that came in the NBA in a long time.
Yes.
That's what he is doing, and that is what is a big part of why the LA Lakers are winning series and games. He is just altering shots, blocking shots all series. What do you feel like? And, before I get on it, so now with this series is a lot of people are talking about the free throw disparity. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of people aren't looking at the numbers. You're talking about an LA Lakers team that does live at the free throw line, while you're looking at a Golden State Warriors team that shoots jumpers and throughout the season is one of the
and that's a great
don't shoot free throws.
Right.
So is this really a disparity, or this is normal? Am I wrong?
This is the style of play. So if Golden State would go to the hole more, they would get more fouls and they would go to the line more. However, they're not doing that because why? Because you got AD patrolling there.
Yeah.
And he doesn't foul. When he blocks shots, he doesn't foul. He blocks pretty clean. So that's what's got them thinking. If I go to the hole, AD is there. So I might as well just go ahead and shoot my mid-range or shoot my threes. And that's why they're not getting to the free throw line. And that's probably going to not change unless they start going to the hole.
Agree.
With authority, of course, and then get fouled, then that'll change. But I don't see how that's going to change because that's not their style. They don't have the personnel that's going to do that. And then AD can get clean blocks off of them, which he's been doing. So if you go to the hole, you're going to be in trouble because he's going to block your shot and then it's going to go the other way. So as long as the Lakers have AD patrolling the middle and not in street clothes on the bench, they should win the series. And they got right now they're confident. And even Lonnie Walker 4 comes in and he's playing lights out.
Yeah.
It's confidence, and they've got it.
And the game that Golden State won, they shot amazing from the perimeter. I mean, they shot game 1 and game 2. They shot amazing from the perimeter. But I guess my point is, if you're going to live with the way that you're going to win, is you need big nights from Klay Thompson and things like that to win a series. I just don't see it happening. Because you can get away. The Warriors used to be able to get away with that because they were a good defensive team. They are not a good defensive team this year.
Nope.
So now you're on just making jumpers for the majority of the game, which is why to me, from now on, I mean, because I agree with you, Pep. I do think that the Lakers can pull out this series in 6 or 7. What's going to have to change for Golden State is I think Andrew Wiggins needs to get more involved into this offense. He is the guy that can get to the basket. He is the guy who's enough to finish around the rim, even with AD there. He is the guy who can get him an ISO bucket outside of Steph Curry. Steph's going to need help. They're running Steph off the line. So
they have no inside presence, no dominant inside presence, which they had
and that's
if they still had James Wiseman, right? But they let him go. They gave up on him.
Yeah.
I think they gave up on him too soon. But you know what? I'm not the coach. I'm not the GM. So whatever, they did what they did. Looney's good, but he's no offensive threat. He gets garbage points off of offensive rebounds, off of loose balls. He'll pick it up and put it in, that kind of thing. You're not going to run any set plays for him. You're not going to throw it down low, post and have him post up and score. It's not going to happen, especially with AD sitting back there.
Yeah.
Right. So the Warriors, they're going to have to rely on that jumpers, mid range, and hit threes at a very consistent rate in order to win. Plus they're not good on the road, as we see.
Nope.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, they got blown out first game on the road against the Lakers. Yeah, they won in Sacramento. I get that, but you know what? That was 7 games in. I mean, do or die. So they had to, and they did. Good kudos for that. But the Lakers are different. They're better defensively now than they have been since the midpoint of the year. When they got rid of Russ and made some personnel changes, getting Hashimura and all that actually helped them. Those were some good deals for them. So I'm not blaming Russ by any stretch, but the deals that the Lakers made was the right fit for them. Yep. And so far, like I said, as long as Anthony Davis is not in street clothes, the Lakers should win this series.
100% agree. And we have a couple good series. Well, actually, one good series on the East side. The Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. That series is now tied up. Joel Embiid was awarded MVP after Game 3.
Boston is kind of baffling to me because they should never have gone 6 games with Atlanta. That should have been over in 5 at the most. Right now, Philly's 2-2, but it's taken a superhuman effort by James Harden to get those wins.
Agreed.
I mean, Embiid is playing hurt. And, I'm the guy that says, well, if you're out there, you're not hurt. I get that. But he is definitely hurt. His knee is killing him, right? But he's still out there playing. So
he's getting his numbers.
And he's still getting his numbers. Except in the fourth quarter of the last game, he got shook. Horford shook him. There's no question about it. Horford shook him.
And to me, though, Pep, this is not the first time that has happened. And
no, it is not.
There's been times, especially when they played Atlanta. Was that last year, 2 years ago, when they lost to them? There was times he did not show up then. There was times, I mean, I guess when they just played Brooklyn, where he just disappeared. So that's the one thing, which is why, even though it is 2-2, and you're right, I agree with you, Pep. I think it's Boston beating themselves more than it is Philly winning.
When you say 2-2, Philly's ahead 2-2 because Boston lost 2 games they had no business losing.
Yes,
right? And so to me, Philly is ahead, but I think that Boston's going to win the next 2. This series is over in 6. I don't see Philly winning in Boston, and I don't see that Philly's going to come home and beat Boston to take it to 7. I don't see it because, like I said, James Harden has had to play 2 Marvel superhero games just to get him this close, and the 2 games that he didn't play, that he played pedestrian, they got smoked. And I think it's going to be more leaning towards that way, more so than superhuman effort. And the problem with Philly is depth. Maxi's good, but he's inconsistent. But the guy I'm pointing at that has been awful, he's useless, and he's paid a ton, is Tobias Harris. I mean, man, that he's killing them.
Yeah. The reason why I disagree with you on how many games is, I don't know, who's to say that Boston does not have another slip up again? We thought that this series in Atlanta was going to be over in 5, and they just have this brain fart.
Here's the thing that surprised me yesterday. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to get this in real quick. When Brogdon went out, that killed their momentum because he was hitting everything. And when he took him out, they stopped hitting. And as a matter of fact, he wasn't even in the last part of the game when Marcus Smart took those shots, right? Because he took 2 shots. He took the one shot that he bricked and it went into overtime, and then he took the shot too late at the end of the game. It would have won if he'd have shot it a half second earlier. But where was Brogdon? Why was he on the bench?
And you know what? And this is what confuses me about this team. I get it. Their stars are young, but they've been to the finals now twice.
Yes.
To see guys like, you're right, Malcolm Brogdon and then Jaylen Brown, not getting up any shots in overtime. Seeing Jason Tatum start out a game 1 for 7 and 2 points in the first half and 7 points in a game. All that stuff is alarming because this is a team that's not only has been there before, but these guys for the most part have played together. I agree. It's
Look
so
for a blowout.
alarming.
Look for a blowout in Game 5 though. Boston's going to destroy them.
Okay.
It's not going to be close. I can feel that. I can see the script in my head, and I see Boston winning that easily.
Okay.
And then going back to Philly, I see Boston having control most of the game. It might be close, but I see Boston in control most of the game and Philly just failing. You're right, because they don't have enough depth to overcome. So that's why I say that Philly Boston is going to end in 6. And then of course New York Miami got what happened. I don't even remember. I don't even know what happened. I know they were upset.
I
got here.
These guys, it's just watching a little bit of that series. Is the New York Knicks can't find consistent offense. Everything that has never gone right with him is starting to go wrong now.
Yes. This is
in the
not
playoffs.
Cleveland.
And yes, this is not Cleveland. They're playing a really good Miami Heat team who's coming with all the juice in the world after the run that they've made from the play-in to beating Milwaukee. And they just cannot match that intensity, that effort, all of it. Julius Randle has been atrocious this series. This is always has been a question with him, and it was when they
can't shoot
years ago.
They've been exposed. They can't shoot.
Yeah,
right?
And that's one of the biggest issues.
Look, they got wide open shots and they're bricking them, and they're not even close. That's the problem. I can see if they're going in and out and you're having tough luck, but their shots are hitting the side of the board, rim, not even close, and they're wide open. They can't shoot. They need shooters, and they don't have them.
Well, the crazy thing
that was good enough. That was good enough for against Cleveland because they had the running game going, right? So they were getting down the court, getting dunks and all that stuff, but they're not doing that against Miami. Miami's not letting them do that.
The crazy thing with Pep, they have one on the bench, and I don't know. He hasn't played all season, but Evan Fournier is on the bench. He is probably their best shooter.
For some reason, he's going to foul Thibodeau. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's his defense or he's not doing what Thibodeau expects him to do, or consistency. But you're right.
But what we learned with that Miami Heat series playing Milwaukee, I know it was forced, but you have to have shooting out there. And I know it took an injury, but Duncan Robinson came in and started knocking down shots, and it opened up so much for Jimmy Butler and the rest of those guys over there. Right. You have to have shooting on the floor. I don't know why Evan Fournier has not been in his rotation, but nobody else has found a consistent jumper on that team. And Jalen Brunson has been the only somewhat consistent scorer on this team. But this series is over in 5.
But they're making him work his behind off.
They are. They're throwing bodies at him.
He's not getting easy shots. He's not getting easy wide open jumpers.
Yeah,
he's making tough shots. So Mitchell
Robinson's not having the effect that he normally had, like he had in the first round. So the series is over on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think so. But for some of these guys, the moment is too big for them, right? I mean, the regular season, they like quickly.
Julius Randle
can get 30, Toppin can get 30 or whatever in the regular season, but come playoff time, it's a whole different situation, a whole different ball game, whole different setting as far as the atmosphere, and some guys can't deal with that.
Yeah, and it starts at the top with Julius Randle. I've never felt like he's a number one option. I don't think
absolutely not
a number one option either, though. So I hope that they can build from this instead of taking a step backwards this year.
You know who Randolph reminds me of? I mean, not Randolph, but
Julius Randle.
Thank you, Randall. He reminds me of Zach Randolph. Zach Randolph, great in the regular season. Come playoff time, he can't get it done because you know why? He's not that guy. Playoffs are different. Yeah, people have to understand. Playoffs are a whole lot different than the regular season. The defensive intensity and atmosphere is a whole different ball game. And some players can't step up to that.
Yeah, and that's why I like to.
Their game is their game, and if they're off, then they're going to be off the whole series.
That's why when we talk about top guys, especially for me, in my opinion, a lot of for me to be considered a top guy in this league, you have to have performed when the lights are brightest.
Yes.
To be considered one of the top guys in the league. So, yeah, 100% agree with you on that.
Good stuff, and we're out of time. But don't forget, Thursday, we got Wise Action, new show on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. On behalf of my man O and Daniel, I want to say peace.